right, I think we are live. Let me know in the chat if you can hear Matt, who's my guest tonight, and then we'll get going once we get this all figured out on audio, because Zoom is being weird for some reason right now. Go figure, right? And I'm going to test. Hopefully. Because I'm not seeing you here on my guest stream thing. It's for whatever reason not having my desk audio, so I'm wondering if they can't hear you. So let me see if I can. Yeah, but I don't know if they can hear you though, because I'm weird. And for whatever reason, audio output capture. Let's do that. Add source, audio output capture, desktop. I think that's what I needed to do. There it is. Now try talking.
All right. You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
There it is. Yeah, for some reason I updated my streaming stuff, and sorry, DR talking poo. Canada being spicy lately, man.
He's been spicy a lot lately.
So tonight I will, on the recommendation, I actually like the other cave hill, or rabbit hole. I like the cave hill a lot. I've never had the Derringer, but you, Matt, love, which I think you're drinking it now. So I'm going to open this for the, oh yeah, there it is, for the first time. Oh yeah, that has a very sherry, is it sherry?
Yeah, it's a sherry cask finish.
Yeah, it's on the nose. Very sherry. Anyways, that's what I'm drinking, Rabbit Hill.
Yeah, this is one that my friend turned me onto, and I can't not have it in the house now. I have a huge sweet tooth, and it applies to nearly everything, even whiskeys and bourbons. So, yeah, this is definitely right up my alley.
Wow, that was my first taste. That's smooth and sweet. You are not joking.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Oh, apparently my audio is too low. Let me change this. Oh yeah, wow, my audio is way low.
Is that the volume being low, or is that?
Yeah, my volume was like, I had it, dude. I reset my streaming software and everything is jacked. I'm like, there was things missing. There was it's like, what the hell? Streaming life, man. It's not easy. Props to the streamers. But so hopefully it's better now for audio. But anyways, tonight was just a hangout with Matt. We're gonna discuss why EQ is the devil, and no, no, we're just gonna have a hangout and chat. Anything that you had on your mind you wanted to discuss at all, Matt? Like, I know you got some pretty spicy takes on things, and I know in my own way I'm spicy. But
yeah, I mean, I guess so. I think one of my New Year's resolutions relating to hobbies in general, not just audio but other hobbies too, is I'm gonna try to not care as much about what other people are doing. Ooh. Like I have my biases, I have my opinions.
Everyone does.
Some very strong, and people ask me for audio advice a lot, and I get, for whatever reason, I get really invested in the decisions they end up making.
Oh.
Almost to the detriment of sometimes my well-being. I get angry and I get overly invested. So I think, one of the things I want to do going into the new year, being in the new year, is to try to not provide any less advice. Of course, anybody can ask me, my takes on stuff, but I'm going to try to give my opinion and then leave it at that. No more, no more further, and yeah.
you want to be able to give your opinion and have them come back a week later and be like, so blah blah blah, this worked out really well, or I hate it, and be like, I told you that. No.
There's just, I thought for a long time, I thought, okay, well, you have the science or whatever and all this, and people are getting tricked and it's bad and all that. And there is a lot of that. But at the same time, if you look at, higher end audio or more bespoke audio, DIY side, custom builds, things like that. Those companies have more orders than they've ever had before.
Yeah.
So I think this big thing that I was afraid of, that the fake science or whatever was winning, and they're ruining audio and all this stuff. Vinyl's as big as it's ever been.
Yeah.
All the custom stuff is as big as it's ever been. I don't think it's going anywhere, and so I'm going to try to worry about it less and just, I don't know, enjoy the music a little bit more.
Enjoy the music, huh? No, dude, I agree. Like, I think, and I'm that's generally how I try to be. But obviously, you're always going to get invested in one way, shape, or form or another. You're always going to have your opinions, or something's going to come up where you're going to get offended or not offended. Yeah, I think that's smart, man. Like, honestly, like there's something to be said about like caring, but not letting that care overwhelm your enjoyment of what you're doing.
Right. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. And we're all supposed to be having fun, enjoying the same hobbies together, right? So
even if you don't necessarily like the same stuff, you should still be able to appreciate the other people's opinions and likes and dislikes. Like, I'm not the biggest country fan guy, but I like some. So,
Yeah, I can get behind a few songs. Like 2 or 3.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Maybe. So actually, another thing I was going to share with you guys, and this is my latest addiction. Like, I bought this as a meme just before New Year's, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be super hipster, and look at me, I drink hopped sparkling water. And so I bought this as a meme. Come on, you can focus, camera. There you go. H2O. It's basically hops 2O, basically, right? And it's hopped sparkling water. I'm a freaking... I bought a case of it. I have a case of this stuff now. And
you are 100% a hipster.
It's so good.
You can't drink that and not be a hipster.
It's so good, though. It's so good. It's like, I literally was like, oh, like I was gonna make fun of it, like, oh, look at me, I'm this, and then I drank it, I was like, oh god, this is so good. Why is this so good? So this is my anti-overly drinking too much drink for the evening.
It's good to have one. I need to get one of those, because when I go for a drink, I just drink more whiskey, and
same.
Probably not.
Always ends bad. I always wake up at like 3-4 in the morning, thirsty as hell, and needing to take a leak. And
do you wake up in the middle of the night and get more whiskey? Because I think that's an actual, like, real problem.
We're not talking about me here, Matt. This is no, I usually go get, like, I'll just chug like water at like 3 in the morning if I drink too much. Like the other night, I think there's a picture. I was filming for the Griffin, which is around here somewhere. But like, you saw, I don't know if you guys saw the video from last week, but like, I was drinking that Lost Monarch, which, by the way, like, if you like this, Lost Monarch is like that, like this, like where it's that sweet. It's anyways, that bottle, I finished it that night. Like, I literally, there's like a third left, and I drank the whole thing, and that was one of those nights. Yeah. But yeah, the timeline is on fire. Uh-oh. What's that mean?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Explain yourself, Rob. By the way, everyone, thank you for joining live stream. I'm going to try and do more of these live streams every week, maybe? I don't know if I can do every week, but we'll see. But I want to do more, because I think they're fun. And then, especially if I have guests like Matt and other people. I think that's important. But
no, and you're going to have hot water in your fridge in like a few days, however long it takes to ship.
It's true.
You probably already ordered it. Don't even pretend. Yeah,
true story. I guarantee you guys, like, it's. So the thing is it's you remember the Topo Chico phase, like the word craze, same thing. This is the new one. This is the new Topo Chico. But essentially, it's just basically it's basically they took Topo Chico and they ran it through fresh hops to give it that like hops, like citrus and like, and it's good. And then they have different flavors. They have grapefruit. They have mango. Mango is stupid good. But anyways,
can you actually buy that outside of PNW though?
Yeah, it's from California. They're from SoCal, and you can order it directly from their thing. And I think right now, because they're new, you get like a 10 or 20% discount for your first time orders right now. Because like I posted that picture on Instagram, and they reached out. We're like, "Oh, thanks, that's awesome." And then go to the website. We just opened up orders from our thing, and there's a instant like discount for first time orders. So I was like, done. But anyways, I sound like a goddamn Hops 2.0 chill.
I'm probably not cool enough. They would probably cancel my order.
You're a lumberjack. You're exactly their demographic. But anyways, back to the spiciness. Let's see. I want to say thanks to everyone for joining once again, and let's see who we got. We got Ego, what's going on? DR, of course. Elnrick, DR, the spicy Canadian. That's a new nickname. He likes them spicy fries. Maybe that's what it is. It's all them spicy fries and vegan chicken tenders. Let's see. Coffee advice. They want coffee advice from Matt. And
nobody wants coffee advice from me. I finally was able to make a good cup like a day ago.
Dude, coffee's hard.
Coffee is hard.
Dude, like it's science. Like if you could do chemistry, you could probably make a great cup of coffee. I'm one of those guys. Like I measure everything by eye or by flavor or taste. You know, it's like I'm not a good baker. I'm good at barbecuing because I just eyeball it. You know, and I've learned over time. Like at this point, or if I touch it, I know if it springs back a certain way, I know which that kind of thing. But like coffee and baking, it's like this elusive beast to me.
You know what it was for me? I went into that approach, the same way I would grill steak. Like, I'm going for 40 grams of beans, but if I hit 42, or, I need this many milliliters of water, but if I go over, I'm a little under, no big deal. When I started paying attention and actually started getting exact and then keeping like a little log of what I've tried and what I didn't, I've started to dial it in. And since I kind of got that one good cup, every cup I've made since then has been
pretty good.
Been better, yeah.
I think
pretty cool.
And then it's once you dial it in, yeah. Once you and then you figure out your tools too, right? That's the other key. Is like your tools that you're using to make it. Once you've dialed those, like how they work, to get the best. I think that's key. I think I think you're right. Like I think once you've dialed it in, it becomes like rote. That I add this to this. It's just the thing you do.
Admittedly, I was mad.
I know. I remember. I saw.
You bullied me into buying all this coffee gear, and then for like almost 2 weeks straight, I was drinking crappy cups of coffee. Like, why?
You're so mad. You're like, this stupid flat grinder. It's just stupid. I just need a burnt grinder. But hey, happy New Year to you too, Mark. Thanks for joining, man. Hopefully it was a good one. But yeah, like I think that coffee is one of those ones. It's like. Same with whiskey. Not whiskey, not in the sense of like how hard it is to do it, but like I think like all these hobbies that we're into are all so objective and subjective, and it's a weird fine line. Like, like it's almost like that. Like whiskey, like some people, everyone has their take, and it's taste buds, and everyone has different taste buds. Likes, I should say, everyone has the same taste buds to some level, right? But just like everyone has the same ears for audio. See where I'm going with this? Like I think.
I mean, coffee's weird though, right? Because nobody disputes it. Like you can measure your grind size, right?
Mm-hmm. And then water amounts and heat temperatures. Right, yeah. It's chemistry. It's science.
Right. Nobody is disputing that. Now, granted, you have your subjective, just like audio, right? You have your
certain temperatures or certain grinds and certain
people describing what they're tasting. Just like alcohol, right? You have.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many flavors that are being described, and it's everything but coffee, right? Like,
you'd be offended. Like, I'm going to describe this real quick. Ready? Let's do this. Right?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm getting a nose of fresh cranberry sauce. And let me tell you here. And clean Christmas fruitcake.
See, you say that though, and now
now your brain is gonna
Yeah, now my brain is like, okay, I see what he's saying.
Yeah, I do this all the time at whiskey tastings, where I'll purposely say like crazy things, and people are like, oh yeah, It's, dude, the mind is a crazy thing, man. Yeah, man, your brain will equalize everything to your taste, and if it has an outside influence, you'll automatically try to like adjust to that outside influence to some level, right? Like, so you'll be like, oh, how do I relate to that? And your brain will like automatically do that, adjust, and like, oh yeah, that's what it is.
See, I could never review whiskeys or bourbons.
I mean, for reals though, like it has a almost like a very clean, almost like the nose is really not strong. It's a very mild. I'm getting like really, it's like a almost fruity sweetness, clean fruity sweetness, like
sweet, smooth, easy to drink.
Yeah. And then the texture, yeah, it's like almost like a tea, like a nice white tea, or like not a green tea, but like a light, or like a jasmine tea. You know what I'm talking about? Like the consistency, like that smoothness going down kind of thing.
But it doesn't. It
has a little like tingle.
It's not too smooth.
That's that tingle. Yeah, that's it. In the back, I get it a little bit in the back. Is that like that like a really strong dark fruit, like a tangy dark fruit, a little bit that kind of like lets you know. And
you gotta have, in my opinion, you have to have that. Like now when I make old fashions, I can't mess with anything that isn't cask strength. I have to have cask strength, because if it doesn't punch me a little bit, then one of two things happens: I get bored with it, or I'll drink it like water, and I'll get real fast.
Lost Monarch might be bad for you, dude, because it tastes so good and it goes down so easy. It's easy. It's actually, I want to say it's smoother than this, and it's so good. And then that bottle art, dude, is just dope. Excuse me. Let's see here. Only difference between science and screwing around is taking notes. I mean, that's fair. Fair enough. I mean, I did as a kid all the time. Like, I remember I had a chemistry set, and I remember just doing all sorts of weird stuff, like trying to break it, or trying to get things to explode, even though you technically couldn't with those chemistry sets for like third graders. But yeah, anyways.
You had to dig on like through the cleaning supplies in your house.
Add bleach, add some other things, gasoline, those things.
I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. We blew up everything.
Oh, we used to make, dude. How about this? We used to do this thing. We had this waterproof tape. You ever seen that? The waterproof tape you can get. It's like almost like painter's tape, but it's like waterproof and it's a little bit stronger. We'd take firecrackers and fireworks, and we'd dump them into a old school film canister, like a 35 milliliter film canister, and fill it up to the brim and get a waterproof wick, and then we'd seal it all up, and we'd do it with that tape, and we'd make little like faux, I don't know, they're like mini dicks. Something's awkward there. Mini sticks of dynamite. Freudian slip. Awkward. I've been hanging out with Rourke and those guys too much, I think. But yeah. Anyways, so that's what we used to do. We used to like blow stuff up. Yeah. But I'm surprised I still have fingers, to be honest with you, and eyeballs.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That was just normal then.
Yeah.
Though. Everybody, kids being kids, blowing stuff up.
Exactly. Let's see. Black rifle cock. Wait. A good Brist is hard to find. Yes, that is also true. Oh, Rip Bob Saget. What?
Yeah, I read about that. He died in his hotel room, but I don't think any other news.
No, nothing. Wow. Hopefully not another David Carradine type scenario. Cheers to that, man. Hopefully rest in peace, man. That sucks. He's a funny dude.
He couldn't have been that old.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I think he was like in his 60s, maybe 60s. Maybe he's 60s, maybe 70s. But I think 60s, right?
It's got to be. He can't be that old. Very 70s, right?
Yeah, it had to be no more than 70s. He couldn't be no more than 70s. But I remember on like, obviously Full House, and then the talk shows, not talk shows, but the TV shows, the game shows and stuff. Or like, was he on Funniest Home Videos for a long time too?
Yeah, yes, that's what I was trying to think of. Yes, Funniest Home Videos.
Oh, he was 65. Yeah, wow. Yeah, see, not too.
His stand-up was very different than
it was like
his game show persona.
It was like Robin Williams. It was like Robin Williams stand. Be like, oh, Robin Williams is such a wholehearted guy, and then you see a stand-up, you're like, he's talking about pissing on stuff, and like, but yeah. Let's see here for the tape. Bro, I stopped listening to my as far as I've only found contentment with my Beats Fit Pro. I mean, Beats are better than Sasfara. You've heard it here, folks. That's
maybe for some people.
Let's see here.
Some
Chippy.
people Tyler, who listen to bad music.
Hate is gonna hate. But Chippy says, more of a Black Velvet gal myself. I don't remember the last time I've had Black Velvet, to be honest with you. I want to say it's been a long time. I should try. Like, I have a very large whiskey. See, I'm a weirdo though. Once I tend to buy new things every time. So, but Black Velvet, man, I'm trying to think. The last time I had Black Velvet, it was like, have you had Black Velvet? I believe it's Canadian whiskey.
I could never get. Like, how do you make it to the liquor cabinet that you have? I can never seem to have more than 5 bottles at once. Because I drink them and then they're gone, and then I.
Well, see, now I have the problem where I have I have a hard time completing, but and after a certain level, you're supposed to like drink through them, otherwise they start to go south. And yeah, it's a problem. It's definitely like and I like because the problem is I enjoy whiskey. Like, I enjoy it and I enjoy collecting it to some level, but I like the experience of trying new things, and like that's the bigger problem. Like, so I see something new, I'm like, oh, I get the FOMO of trying something new, and I want to try something. I want to see what it tastes like. I want the experience of it, and so I think that's my bigger problem, if that makes sense. Like, I have a FOMO problem.
No, that makes sense.
And then it's funny because all the whiskeys I don't like.
Bottles? You have at least 50 bottles, right?
I'm up to like 70, I think. 70, 80.
That's
I think I have like 4 or 5 up here. So, and a bunch of them are like collector's things too. Like, some are like I got one. I got the Wild Turkey 1. See, that's over here. Let me go get it real quick. I'll show you. This is probably one of my more expensive latest acquisitions. It's fancy. It comes in a big box. It's the Master's Keep. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Here we go. So, Wild Turkey, Master's Keep. Hopefully it doesn't fall out, because that would be awkward. Okay, cool. It's got another door there. Does this open up? Yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? That's like a cool presentation, right? Like, it's just kind of a...
Oh,
so this is like one of their fancy Wild Turkeys. It's hard to get. I actually tried it at my buddy's house, and it's okay. It's kind of a bummer when something like that, where it's like this super sought after, like relatively expensive, and then it's like,
So, okay. So, did you try it before you bought it?
No, I bought it, and we all bought it together. Like, it was
okay.
And so then we all had we went to go pick up the bottles, and then one of them had already opened it, and so we were trying theirs, and it was like one of those things, and we're all like, it's good, but is it the expensive level that it is good? And it's and I think that's always the case, right? There's always that, like, everything's good, but how much are you willing to pay for that good, right? Not everything's good. That's not true, but you know what I mean, like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess you could kind of say the same thing about other hobbies, audio, right?
Yeah, audio, definitively audio. I mean,
everything's
so as far as perfect example of that.
Relative to other things, how good is it really?
And then how much people are willing to pay for that good. I think that's the real key.
I mean, I think when it comes to these like luxury hobbies, I think the willing to pay is. No, there's always somebody willing to pay. I think is
always. Look at online gaming these days, dude. Like, people are like pissed about like certain like the Halo. I'm a big Halo guy right now, loving the Halos, and but the store for the Halo Online, it's like $20 to get like a color swap, and you're like, what? Who the hell's buying that? And then you go and play online, you're like, everyone has it. And you're like, what the? It's like, holy crap! No wonder they put that stuff out. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's and it's super aggressive and super like kind of predatory, I guess, in the sense of like the corporate world. But at the same time, it's like people are doing it; they're paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have both sides, right? You could say that's way too much money to charge for, what essentially is a very easy software problem to fix. But the other side of it is there are people who are enjoying the service and they're happy to pay $20 for it. So who's to say it's wrong by offering that?
And then the other side of it too is like that's a free game. So and in people's heads, maybe they're like, well, normally I would have paid $60, $70, $80 to $100 for this game. So maybe in their head they're like, well, I can spend $100 on these cosmetics because that's what I would have bought the game for anyways. Maybe I'm rationalizing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not familiar with Halo, but I assume in that situation you have these online purchases, in-game purchases subsidizing the game, which is why it can be free in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Noah, yes, this is a ZMF hoodie, and they're fantastic because this thing was actually almost all red when I first got it, and this is actually this is my second one, and so like it starts to get this wear, like so right here, those little dots. It's because in the wintertime I get itchy, and you'll see me itching all the time in my videos or on my live, and so that's there because I itch there all the time. See, look, it's not on this side. And I probably have one on like my maybe not. I always do this too, but anyways. So it fades, like it has like a way it fades will like be you. Like it's kind of cool, right? Like I love stuff like that. Like this will be inherently my sweater because it will have faded due to things that I did to it. I think that's cool. Anyways,
sorry. It does look really comfy. I only have the shirts. I don't have the sweater or the sweatshirt.
It's very comfy, man. I'm shaped like a gosh darn gorilla, so like it's things never fit me right. Like this one's actually one of the ones that this actually, as far as like. Usually this is my problem. Like my arms are stupid long, and so like I'll get the thing where like most sweaters will be like here on me on full length, and I'm like so that's why I tend to. If you ever see like my sweaters or things are always pulled up, is because if I didn't do that, they would still just be like right there. So it looks weird, but anyhow, yes, this is super comfy. It's super thin and light too. Like it's a light, really comfy. I don't know why I'm describing these things the way I'm describing them right now. I'm like, oh yeah, and it's got this thin, nice.
We're getting live takes on clothing.
Right? Clothing, and like all the things live takes. But yeah, so I want to touch back on that New Year's resolution type deal. I think that's kind of cool, especially for 2022. We're still fresh into it within the first, almost 10 days still, yeah. For me, I think, like, I agree with you. I think caring less is important. Sorry, that's not accurate, or that could be taken out of context. I think caring less about the feedback I get, I guess, in that sense, right? Like or being so invested in other people's opinions. I think it's important to take those into account, but at the same time, yeah, I think like we're moving, we're going forward, we're upwards and onwards, right? So it takes a lot of time and emotional investment and all that kind of stuff sometimes, where sometimes it's not worth it, especially if it's like a antagonistic thing, right?
Yeah. I think we get so hung up a lot of times because we're all passionate, right? We're all passionate about the hobby. We all have our own opinions on it, and I think we get caught up so much that rather than focusing on having fun and enjoying the hobby, we focus more on all the things that are wrong with it. Yeah, and I think making a conscious effort to try to get out of my own head and focus more on the fun stuff. And set little goals, like systematically go through my system if something doesn't have tubes in it,
It's
make
gone.
sure you replace it with something that has tubes in it. You know, little goals throughout the year, right? Like it doesn't matter. You know, somebody says get this or get that, or this thing's the hype product of the month, or you know, just pick stuff up that looks fun, have fun with it. I'm going to try to have more fun with it and try to be less what's the word I'm looking for?
FOMO.
I tend to be very analytical with things. I tend to break everything down, and try to determine a best for me. You know, we all know there's no best, right? Like, you know, my best isn't your best, but I definitely try in any hobby, no matter how subjective it is, I'm gonna break it down and try to find baseline metrics, and come up with some type of order or hierarchy. And I'm gonna try to do that less, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't do anything for audio. You know, there's gear that I've listened to that I would say objectively and subjectively is technically better than other things that I've heard, but I don't enjoy them as much because there is no measurement for what you'll enjoy. A perfect example, I've been doing, you know, I'm sure anybody who's seen my office on live streams knows that this is a totally different angle. Everything's changed. I'm focusing on room treatments and speaker placements and everything, and without any EQ or anything at all, I'm basically down to like a near flat response with a slight downslope, with 2 bookshelves and 2 subs. But I personally don't, you know, even though that would be like the ideal objective target, I actually like to tune the sub. I turn the subs up more, and move the crossover points to actually have not a shelf, but a rise, right?
I gotcha. Yeah.
A rise as we get closer to 20 hertz. And yeah, you know, I used measurement software and microphones to dial that in, but instead of dialing towards some other target curve, I dialed towards my own preference. So I still use, you know, measurement tools and things like that to get there, but I hit my own preference. And granted, my preference is pretty close to what people would say neutral, but it sounds awesome. It sounds way better than just totally dead flat, and to me anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's important. I think that's really important. Like that's actually how, and this is why I think, which is funny, because that's when I talk. We get in our little discussions on Discord about like subjectively or objectively good and bad gear. That's what you just said is basically how I that's my thing. Like, I'm telling you that my opinion is this as far as a perfect example of it. It's a subjectively, objectively good headphone, right? I just don't get joy from it. Like, I just don't. It's not something that. Same with Utopia. Like, Utopia, I think is stupid good and fantastic. I would rather have the Stellia. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, and so I think that's the part that I like. Like, I skew hard to that side, right? Where I want to enjoy the thing, and if you align with my opinions or thoughts on those things, then cool. If not, that's cool too. Like, I don't care. Like, you know, if someone hates what I love, I mean, it's no skin off my back. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. So
I think the sticking point though is how do you, like, I can accept you have a different preference than me, different preference than someone else, and what everybody has their own preference, but
yeah,
where do we find the common grounds and or set the baselines on how we talk about things?
Well, that's a good point.
And that's kind of where I think I differ philosophically from other people. I think
You could say it
I
philosophically. For me, it's cool.
we have the Harman target, right? We have the Harman target, whether it's good or bad. It's a baseline, right? I can say Harman target, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I think when we're talking about things and using our audiophile words or whatever, I do think it's important to actually stick to that baseline. You know, if it, you know, I think it's we can talk. We can make more sense to each other when we talk about it that way, and I think if that is what's considered normal and what people are used to,
but there's a big wrench in that, though.
What's that?
Oh, there's a shite ton of people outside. Like, when they have no clue what the hell Harman curve is or what a curve is. Like, I'm just being real. Like, I know there's most of the people in this chat or most people that are here will know generally, right? Like, somewhat. Like, if I ask the chat right now, like, what's the Harman curve? Everyone would be like, oh, it's the they'd be able to somewhat describe it, I think, right? But there's a huge chunk of people that might just be like, yeah, I know what that is, and then if you actually ask them, they'd be like, I actually don't know what that is. You know what I'm talking about? Like, there's that with cool kids kind of thing. But like, I think that's another factor that's kicked in. I think that the FR, excuse me, burping up some ups. But the FR, I think, is an issue, I think, where another factor is that the Harman curve was created under unique circumstances, to say the least. Like, there's a big chunk of the people that they used to do the testing to get that average were actual Harman employees. The amount of people that were just randos was not as much as people think it is, and the overall testing of it was not as large of a testing group as you would think. So, I think that's, I don't know. I'm just being a weird.
Well, I don't think it's really about the curve itself, right? It's about just having a baseline.
Yeah.
And I think Ev from ETA Headphones said it today, in their Discord, that, and this is kind of related, that most people's normal or neutral could be defined as what sounds natural to them, what sounds normal and not weird. So something that would be natural or neutral would be something where most of the music they listen to sounds how they expect it to sound. Whereas some other speakers or headphones might sound really good with some songs and then sound really weird with others, and they may be farther away from
what true neutral is.
Right, but it would be what happens is they end up being polarizing. They're really good for some stuff, really bad for other things.
And then there's also the factor of, so this is another fun thing that I was thinking about, and we discussed. I discussed with you, maybe, but like I was discussing with some people. But there's this thing where you acclimate as a person, as a human. Everybody acclimates. Like, we all have like that. Like, I listen to these for a week, and then I'll throw on my VCs, and I'll be like, oh, this is weird. Like, it doesn't sound normal to me, right? That can be another thing where you'll put on headphones that would be technically better, or subjectively, objectively, however you want, like, or better. There's the better headphone, right, across the board. But because you're so, excuse me, like ASAP mentions it here. Excuse me. Ooh, this stuff is giving me the burps like no tomorrow. But like, as I say, like, there's so many people that are so used to that V curve, right? Or they're so used to this specific sound signature, like you're saying too. Like, there's that once they hear something like these, the Utopias, as far as anything, right, that's outside of that, what they're used to, is going to sound not correct to them, to some level, right? Like, so I think it takes time for your brain to acclimate. That's why I always think it's interesting to see people's hot takes on things sometimes. Like, literally, like, they throw it on very first time and give their impression of it. Like that always makes me a little bit like, are you listening to it? Like, how are they? I don't know. Like, unless I know them specifically or personally, then I give more leeway. But like, as far as like people I don't know or with fresh takes, it's like,
I used to it's funny now because if I put something on and immediately notice something,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I know that there is something wrong with what I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something is so emphasized that I can pick up on it in one song,
Mm-hmm.
then something's off. Something
Yeah.
beyond like, if we're talking headphones or whatever, oh wow, the stage is enormous or 3D.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like, specific regions, right?
Like the highs are just extreme
vocals
highs.
are incredibly forward, or these cymbals are crazy loud. Stuff like that. You can even sound impressive, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you put it on and you're like, oh my God, there's so much detail. Everything's coming at me. And then it's like, by the time you're on song 4, you're like, I have this huge headache because everything is just, the presence region is just being jammed down my throat.
Pile driven into your head. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, man. It's true. I mean, that's definitely a thing. Yeah, I think that's another factor, right? Like that, like we just said. And see, that's also though what will give some people that wow moment or that chase the dragon moment too. Like, because I was like that with the HD800. The first time I ever heard the HD800, I was just like, because it deviated so greatly from everything else I'd heard up to that point that I was just like, wow, what is this? And then when I threw it on my bottlehead crack, I was just, that was another one where I was just like, it was. Oh, dude, it is. It's peanut butter and chocolate. That pairing, it's ridiculous. But like, I think that's where you start chasing those. Some people chase that unique. Oh, I've heard things I haven't heard before in a song, and sometimes it's because a headphone gives you such a deviation of what you're used to that it's emphasizing things that the song that are there. They've always been there in that track. It's just because it's emphasizing that specific portion of the frequency range or whatever that it's now highlighting those things you didn't hear before.
Yeah. And I think the other thing with like, and I think it's mentioned in chat a little bit with the Harman stuff, and you mentioned it where a lot of people don't know what it is. I only think it's relevant in that we can say like I can say to you, you could say, hey Matt, you just got this headphone in, how is it? And I could say, relative to the Harman curve, I think it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
And you would immediately know exactly what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who doesn't know the Harman curve, it doesn't really, dark wouldn't have any meaning to them anyway.
Yeah.
Like there will always be somebody who's buying Beats at Best Buy, right? Or something like that. Like the Harman curve doesn't matter for them. And the person who makes, who's a surgeon who makes $500,000 a year and just says, I'm getting the headphones, and goes and buys, a $10,000 DAC, a $10,000 amp, and a Abyss or Sosvara or Utopia, and throws on their classical music and is just blown away. Like, they had AirPods before, and now they have this $30,000 setup, and it sounds amazing.
A pair of 580s, and they're just like, pfft.
Yeah, they're done. They're done at that point. I think where we talk and we analyze and all this stuff, it's a different customer, right? It's a different person.
It's the proper hobbyist.
Yeah, it's a hobbyist. It's somebody who's saying, I may or may not have this money, but I actually care what is the best and what's good. And I think we fail hard as a community with setting our own baselines to talk about things. Like if you go on a Head-Fi, right? Like new LCD5, right? Go on a Head-Fi and just read the threads. It's bright, it's dark, it's warm, it's cold, it's closed in.
Every headphone. There's so many people.
It's tiny. Like we fail. We really fail at talking about this stuff.
Yeah. And I think the reason behind that too, there's a part of that's why I was discussing with you guys before, and this is something that I think is interesting to me. And I think Drift was making the point of we all hear the same, right? We all hear and yes, physically we all hear the same. We do. I think it's our experiences, it's in life, like in general, like literally being born to the time of where you're at today, sitting here talking to me. All those experiences have given you a bias or and not in a negative way, not a bias in a bad way. I'm saying it's given you a preference. It's given you a way that you enjoy things your life has given you a way that you like these things, these ways, right? And that goes into how you perceive and intake that audio as well. I think, and that's across the board. And I think that's where the problem comes into play. It's this, you could say psychoacoustics all day long, and that's part of it, I'm sure. But I think it's also just literally people's experiences make them have these. This is like a weird, I don't know, maybe a little bit deep, but I mean, I think that factors heavily into those differences, like we were talking about, like the LC5 being bright to super wide to collapse stage to, I think, depending on how people have heard music throughout their life, that will factor into how they perceive that sound coming from individual headphones from individual people. Does that make sense?
Right. And then and I think what further compounds this problem is that we're also relying on people. Give the
people are super not reliable.
I mean, there's other problems, right? You have confirmation biases. You have people, there's a lot of people that would go out and buy a Utopia or any high-end headphone, and they're, even if they don't like it, they're not going to go on the internet and be like, this is crap. I don't like this. They don't want to appear as if they made a mistake or they did something foolish or something like that. And then you also have the
philosophers that just want to philosophize,
or they love their gear too much, right?
Yeah.
They've saved for a long time. They've invested their hard-earned dollars, and they're so invested in how the gear is perceived that it becomes personal. And I feel like all this stuff kind of muddies how we talk about it, right?
Well, then there's also the factor that people don't know, like everyone's definition of, like, so you mentioned dark earlier, right? Like this is a dark, the Headphone card dark. And so to me, dark and warm are two different things. Dark to me is bass. Warm to me is mids. If that makes sense. Like I want lush warm mids. Like I want that. That's to me, like warm is something that's leaning to the right of like bright. Like I want like warm, like cold and warm. Think of it that way, right? And I don't think of bass as a warm thing. I think of that as a punchy, like slammy. That's what I think of as bass. Like those are the things. And to me, I would describe that. I don't really like using dark, but that's what I would say. It would be dark. It'd have a darkness that would go into a warmth in the mids. Like it would have an elevated darkness would be bass, and then elevated warmth, which would be the mids. Does that make sense? But see, that's my definition. See what I'm saying? Like you're like, no, motherfucker, that doesn't make sense at all. But like, see what I'm saying? Like, so my definitions of what I think are these things are also what's muddying the waters. Like, and you can say all day long, like we need I was about to say something weird, like a place where we could have all these definitions clearly defined. But God, the arguments for that alone would be a nightmare. Like, can you imagine? Like,
yeah, I mean, we're never going to get it. We're talking dream scenario, how we can do it. We'll never get there. But I mean, that's true for everything in life, right? Like we can all philosophize how to get there, but then
the reality of getting there is
the actual execution is. I mean, you saw Don't Look Up, right? The new movie.
Oh, I watched some of it. I haven't finished it, but yeah, it's like. Yeah. You can say all day long, like, or it's like Chicken Little. It's the Chicken Little thing, right? The sky is falling. Like people have gotten so acclimated in the sense of that, like, right, like people are like, yeah, whatever, like Boy Who Cried Wolf, that kind of thing too. Where you have and I'm using those terms in the sense of like people have been so off or different so long that every time someone's like, let's fix this, it's like, see, Bears, by the way, are the best. By the way, Bears. They're not bright. They're super dark, warm, luscious headphones that don't make your ears bleed. I don't know what your problem is.
I've heard that before.
I'm lying.
I've actually heard people refer to it that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that's like, see, I've heard, I'm with Elric, actually. Like Bears, every Bear I've had, actually, that's right. Actually, we do have a Bear fan in our little mix there. You're right. I forgot about that. But yeah, I'm with Elric. I'm not a big Bear fan. Every Bear I've had has been kind of like, I didn't like it. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's not for me.
They do weird cuts, weird frequency cuts.
Yeah.
if you ever, I know, measurements, whatever, blah blah blah. But if you take a look at some of their measurements, uh, I mean, and you can listen and hear this stuff. They, for whatever reason, they always do these weird cuts. I mean, huge cuts.
Hmm.
I don't know why. They seem to differ from every other headphone company out there. Even the big ones, right? Like obviously the boutique audio companies are going to do some weird stuff too, but
Yeah.
you don't see Sennheiser doing it. It's just it. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
You know, it's a fun, interesting. So this is another thing. Part of the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of hi-fi mins. It's if it's not known, it should be known. Like I mean, I wear it on my sleeve pretty religiously, but and I don't think that they're horrible headphones by any means. I'm just not a fan. And part of that reason is I feel like there's a sharpness to their separation, like the way that instruments are separated, like the separation of tones and notes, and then like the instruments, everything. So not imaging, but the actual separation of the different like notes and tones and that kind of thing is just sharp to me. Like there's this like weird sharp cutoff to me every time I listen to a hi-fi min that gives it this unnatural sound to me. Like I don't know. That's the thing. That's part of the reason why I don't really dig on it. But
I actually agree with you there, with the exception being
this as far as probably the least of those.
So far.
Yeah, so as far as the least, but it's, I mean, I still picked up on it, but it's, yeah, they had this there was this, just, I don't know, that's my biggest grip. And then also, for me, and this is my own thing, is, and like I don't understand, like everyone has hearing loss or some sort of hearing issues throughout their life. It's just natural, it's what humans, it's just the way it is. But for me, I've always had sensitive ears to pressure. And so with a planar magnetic, it's very rare for a planar magnetic to not give me that wall of sound, which is caused by over-pressurizing of the cups. And so that will throw me off too sometimes. And once I get that, I have to take the headphones off and give myself a break to get back to where it doesn't give me that.
There's actually a lot of people that have that issue specifically with planars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just it's a weird, and that's where you get the crinkle. Like people that get the really bad crinkle, it's because they're over pressurized cups. Like and then it crinkles. And then also because sometimes planars just have crinkly cups, but or drivers. But anyways, yeah, I was being sarcastic, by the way, about the Bears. If that wasn't apparent, sorry. Let's see. Let's see. There's been some pretty good comments in here. Actually, it's already 6:54. So I could probably go for another. What do you think? Another 10 minutes past 7, probably at most.
So I want to ask you about something.
Yeah, let's do this.
Because you've been the obviously with pandemic and everything, the headphone market boomed.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody worked from home. The shift there. Headphone market saw a huge shift, but you've had your headphones figured out for a long time now.
Yeah,
you've had Stelia VOVC pretty much.
Those are pretty much so my main staple headphones are VOVC, Stelia, and HD800 with my That's KKR was mentioning it. He calls it my Frankenstein headphones, but my HD800s that are modded with SDR and has some other stuff on them. But yeah, those are my main probably 4 staple headphones. Yeah,
but you've recently got into speakers.
Yeah,
more importantly, vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with vinyl. Like that's all my dad listened to was vinyl. Like he had a huge vinyl collection. So, but yeah, I recently got back, into collecting my own vinyl again. Like I was for a while, like when I was a little bit younger, and I sold them all like a dumbass, and now I'm back into it. I'm trying to start collecting again. I want to get a better turntable. I have a Fluence right now, like one of their top of the line Fluences. But I'd like to get a VPI eventually. I think those are fantastic, or something else like along those lines, something cool, But I don't know. Yeah, so go ahead. Sorry.
Removing the caveats, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have no restrictions on your listening. Do you ever pick up your headphones? Like no restrictions, no nothing. Given the choice, let's assume that you have every vinyl that you have available on streaming. So given the choice, do you always go vinyl vinyl speakers every time, or is there a scenario where you pick up your headphones?
So here's how I view it. So I used to have the SR1A too, the speaker
Yes.
head, yeah, and I got rid of those because I have my Kefs and I have my Kef Meta 2s in near field. Those basically did that and more than what those were providing, right? Like I still miss those SR1As, but these just
It's
do what it
it's
is.
funny you say that because when you let me borrow your pair,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and I was listening to them, and I like them the best with the flaps
super
nice
wide.
and wide. And my wife said to me, "Those sound just like speakers. Why don't you just listen to speakers?"
And that's
And I was like, actually, that why am I not just? It's as loud as speakers because they're wide
she
open.
could, yeah, say my wife could hear them, yeah,
Right. So why not? Why wouldn't I be listening to speakers that are, you
yeah.
know, 6 feet in either direction that have a stage that is 10 times as wide and more enveloping? Why not?
And
So that was my problem with those was that
and that was
they
my
were
problem. Once I had the
almost
Kefs, it was just I didn't have a use case for them. So here's my take on it. I would say that I do think that speakers are better than headphones. And yes, there are some bleed over, like the top of the line. Some top of the line headphones can perform better than mid tier or. Dude, speakers are such a crazy. I don't even know what mid tier would be anymore in a lot of these hobbies because it's just. Anyways, some of the headphones can perform better than speakers for sure, bar none. Same thing with IEMs. IEMs are certain IEMs that can perform better than most headphones, even some speakers, right? And there's always going to be those caveats, right? That being said,
try to get Sospara detail on speakers.
yeah,
See
because
what
it's so
understand.
close to your ear, you don't have to worry about room correction. You don't have to worry about. So that's the thing so there's strengths in each one, right? But no, I would probably go with speakers 99% of the time if I had the option, right? Like the thing with headphones to me is the intimacy, like the isolation and the intimacy. So if with headphones I can put on clothes. That's why I personally like closebacks a lot. Like it's is because you can have that shut down. Like I can shut down the world all around me. I can turn down the lights. I can grab some whiskey. I can put on some good music. I can put my headphones on, and I can shut the world out. And I can just ignore the world for a bit and enjoy some music and enjoy myself without having distractions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Follow up question,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you hit on a point. There's an intimacy that headphones give you that speakers just don't, and especially if you're shooting for that large stage,
Mm-hmm.
lifelike at a show presentation, the less you're going to get that intimate setting. Do you have different music that you listen to on speakers versus headphones?
I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. No, yeah, like, so my ADHD carries over to my music, and that's how I listen as well. Like I have like I think right now I have on average on each playlist probably 1,000+ songs, and they're all just random, and I always hit random. Like I always hit play random, unless so here actually I will take that back. Most of the time that's how I listen, except for vinyl. Vinyl to me is a whole nother beast. Like, cause to me, like I want when I have a vinyl track or a record, vinyl is the thing you put on when you want to listen all the way through an album. Like the album tells a story. I want, and it's a process. It's a feeling, and you have this whole process of like flipping the story. You're turning the page of the book. Like there's so much that you can engage with a vinyl album. The process of picking that album, that's like picking a book or picking a movie or picking
Yeah.
you're dedicating your time to that album and listening to that track and in that order of those tracks. And so the best albums in vinyl to me are the ones that the tracks align into an actual story, or that will give you a feeling of a progression of story to some level. It doesn't have to literally be a story telling you something, it's just the progression of it, right? That gives you a crescendo, or like there's an ups and downs in the tracks that give you like kind of the movement through the album. That is vinyl to me. Like that's the time that I change my listening, how I listen is with vinyl. Vinyl is when I'm listening to that, and I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want that album to be interrupted. I'm listening to that. Does that make sense?
That's kind of exactly where I was going with it. I feel the same way. My wife got me Nirvana's MTV Unplugged on vinyl, and we listened to that on New Year's, I think, and it took me back to when I think I was a teenager when it came out, watching that special on MTV. It took me right back to that. All the spatial cues, of the venue are all preserved there, and all the commentary from Kurt in between songs was they kept all that in, so it was just
cool.
Such a good album. And MTV, back when they actually did music, those weird. MTV Unplugged, they were so well recorded too.
Dude, reminds me, MTV Unplugged is like used to be what today's Tiny Desk is to me.
What is a Tiny Desk?
You never seen NPR Tiny Desk?
No.
It's like tiny concerts, the little Tiny Desk concerts where they are in this little like office and like they do concerts. Dude, look it up on YouTube, dude. You're gonna look up your artists. Like they have every single artist you can imagine, and they do these live sessions in these little like office space things, and they're just singing and playing music. It's fantastic. It's
all right, yeah, I gotta check that out.
And it's on YouTube, so it's like it's not the best audio, but at the same time, like just the joy of listening to them play live in these little venues is really cool. So yes, I agree with you. Sorry.
Oliver's saying that he links it all the time in chat.
He does. He really does. Actually, he does. Actually,
I see links and I see YouTube. I have to admit it. I'm kind of snobby about this. A lot of times I see YouTube and Spotify and I don't click it. I don't click it because I'm like low-res music. Get it out of here. I should click it though. At New Year's resolution, I have to be less of a source snob.
You really do, man. It goes back to your caring. Stop caring so much. Enjoy the music. Enjoy the experience. It doesn't necessarily be like enjoy the experience of it, dude. And another really good one is the Australian version of it. What's the version? That's another good one. Like another YouTube thing. What the version or something like that. Really, really good. There's a bunch too. There's so many good ones like that where it's just like the artists are just it's like a pure form of artistry because they're in these small little tiny spaces and they're just doing their thing and having a blast. And like that to me is passion, or that is that's. So you're not necessarily enjoying like the sound quality of the music, but you're enjoying the music and the performance of the music. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I thought about this the other day too. I think one of the reasons why I like live recording so much is because the atmosphere of the venue is recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I think it adds to the spatial cue and it helps put you in the music versus something in a studio where voices just pop out of thin air and you can't really place it. I think somebody linked the other day. I believe this is in one of our private Discords.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was. I can't remember where I saw it.
There's so many Discords. I'm bad.
It's something that actually adds atmosphere. It was for speakers. You listen.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It was like what, like 7 or 8K, and
it's just adding vibrations, right? It added vibrations to the room to make it have a different. Yeah, it was on. It was the super secret Discord that we're on, of like 12 people.
I wonder who is going to be the first to buy that. It won't be me.
No. I'm thinking the person that posted it will be.
Maybe.
My secret stash.
Yeah. I hope so, actually. I hope so. I want somebody. So that is so meme worthy that I feel like it could be real. Right? Like you see all these crazy things, like they can't all be snake oil, right?
Yeah.
Something has to work.
Has to be rigid.
And I feel like this is so convoluted that it
could be. Maybe something to it. Well, it's like bone conduction, right? I mean, I'm sure people were like, "Whatever, get out of here with your bone conduction." But then you like, if you've ever had, it's like weird magic. It's like I don't know. Like if you were to put that in a caveman's ear, they'd probably think you were like a black wizard of something. You know what I mean? Like there's things that do work. It's just. Yeah, like I agree.
I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried any bone conducting anything yet.
I have my Mest. My Mest have them.
Oh wait, does the Sony have it?
I don't know. I think there's some that have them. They have a little. I think is it Sony has. I don't know. There's ones that like the true bone conducting ones. They actually don't sit in your ear. There's a little thumper that sits right behind your ear that like taps your skull, and that's how it creates the music in your head.
Interesting.
But yeah, interesting for sure. I was gonna say, so we're at 7:07. I could probably go for a little bit long. Any more questions for me or Matt? Like I don't really have any. I just enjoy having chats. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what Hi-Fi After Dark is all about.
Oh, I did have a request. So there was someone is asking. I don't know how this is gonna work. I should do it. I should have done it earlier. My bad. But it was someone asked in one of my comments in one of my videos about a live stream, and they asked if everyone could list their top album that they're listening to this week, or like most recent, like their most recent favorite album right now. So I guess you and I could start, and then we can, and if you guys want that are in the live chat, go ahead and post them up. And then if not, and if I shut down the stream, post them in the comments once this is done. But like I think that'd be a cool thing, and maybe if I get enough of them, I'll post them up in like my community YouTube community thing. I'll list them out or something. But yeah, what's yours? What's your most recent like can't stop listening to album?
I'm gonna have to think because I've been so busy the past couple days. I really haven't done a whole lot of listening.
It could be from the past like couple like weeks, months, whatever. Just first thing comes to your mind. What's the first album comes to mind?
I guess I already mentioned it.
The Nirvana.
The Nirvana album. It's either that or and this is going to be total other side of listening. But there is a Sarah Bareilles live album.
Oh, she's awesome.
It was a it's fairly new. It was a 4-disc vinyl.
Ooh.
Yeah, they did the whole concert. It took four discs to get it. That I gotta pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it just so I can. It's definitely worth buying.
So mine is, I don't have it on vinyl, and it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And actually, I think it was Chef Steve that actually recommended it to me. And I've been just jamming to it, man. It's just, and I don't have it on vinyl, but I'm going to try and find it. I want to find a good version if they have it. But it's Jungle Giants, a Love Signs album. And God, man, like that one is just, it's just so well recorded, and it's not gonna be everyone's. It's kind of like this electronic / like it's like one of those like upbeat kind of deals. But it's, dude, the way it's recorded, like I can't stop listening to it. It just sounds so good, and it's fun. It's fun to listen to. It has like there's little things that going on, and it's just a fun listen album that I really enjoy on both speakers, headphones, all that stuff. So I'm hearing my wife yelling, so I'm going to probably have to get going here soon.
It was Sarah Bareilles Amidst the Chaos live from the Hollywood Bowl.
Ooh. See, I want to go there. Hollywood Bowl would be dope. Another place I want to go is Colorado. Was it Red Rocks? I want to go to Red Rocks.
Yeah, I definitely want to pick up more LPs of Red Rock shows.
It just looks like such a blast to go sit there. Seb's he shared a couple pictures of him being at Red Rocks, and I was just like, oh, I want to be there. Lucky living right there, to be able to live right there and be able to go.
Yeah, the natural acoustics of that place are supposed to be
fantastic.
Yeah.
Drift, you came in too late, man. We're about to shut it down. You missed the spicy takes. And we didn't even talk about. We'll have to have Matt. We'll have to jump on again later and have you. We'll have to do a Sinbro meme show at some point.
We're gonna do Sinbro though. We have to get.
We'll get Drift on and
be on here as well.
Get the Sinbro full meme show.
Do it. We can do a check-in to see how we're doing with our New Year's resolutions.
There we go. There we go. Why are we talking about music? Good point. Because we love music here. I guess I could just throw up a graph and we could just. I don't even talk. I'll just like take my finger and just constantly just move my finger along the graph and make everyone get chicken. I don't know. But on that spicy note, I don't know, Matt. Anything you wanted to add or?
No, I mean, new year. Just gonna try
New
to
year,
have
new me.
more fun with all the hobbies and try not to get as serious with them.
More DIY.
More tubes.
2022 is the year of the DIY.
More tube gear.
Yeah, more tube gear.
We need more tubes in households. They need homes.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna do tube DACs? I mean, they have them.
Yeah, I have a tube deck now.
That's crazy.
That's I got an old like unknown, no real reviews on it or anything. Type deal. It's like from 2013, so it's old. Old for audio terms. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's a holdover. I'm waiting for a crazy DAC built by a crazy person.
Yeah, usually how it works.
But yeah, I think depending on when we do this next, I should have some impressions to share on that. Hopefully, I'll have it by then.
Yeah, man.
But DB also, he's getting one as well. So.
I think I know what you're talking about now. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Excited. That'll be fun.
I've bought and sold a lot of things to move things around to make this happen. So if it sucks, I'm gonna be really, really.
You're not getting it back. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, I figured. I got rid of 2 DACs that I really loved to make room for this one that's coming in. So I really hope I like it. Really, really hope I like it.
For sure. I think you will. I think it's all you'll have your built-in bias and all that fun stuff. So
yeah.
But anyways, I'll look forward to hearing that. We'll have to schedule another one. We'll get Drift in here. We can talk Sin Bros and all that fun stuff. And yeah, thanks for jumping on with me, Matt. It was fun. I think we just last minute relatively. So yeah, this is a blast. I enjoy this. This is actually a favorite thing to do. Is these. My wife hates it because I end up going longer than an hour like I always do. But
we're pretty good tonight.
Yeah, 7:14. It's only 15 minutes over. I think we're good. We're good. All right. Well, hey, chat. Thanks for joining, and appreciate all the fun chat. I wish I got involved with chatting with Matt, so I didn't get too deep into the live chat. But maybe another one we'll have to do more engagement. Maybe we could do like a live chat and just sit and just answer all live chat questions. And I'll get Matt back on, and we can do a fun answer all live chat questions with Matt.
Yeah. Next, I think depending on when it is, this will all
be different.
This will be fully treated next time on. So hopefully, well, depending on if it's sooner, probably not. But yeah, soon all of this is getting treated. So.
So before I go, one caffeinated studio, free iron 180. Let's see, free giveaway. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, that distracted me. But I was gonna say the fun one would be like I want to do it was anechoic, and I can never pronounce things. Anechoic chamber. Is that what you're gonna try to do? You're gonna just make just no echoes at all. It's just a dead chamber and just pure sound.
I like a fairly live room, so I'm gonna keep it live, but I'm gonna cover the rear reflections, the first early reflections on the sides, and the front wall here with some diffusion as well. I already can't actually see them, but I already have huge panels on either side.
Very cool. Well, look forward to seeing it and hearing all your thoughts on it. And then on that note, seriously, forever goodbyes. Ended on that one. Thanks, chat, and it was a blast. And thanks, Matt. It was super fun. And we'll do it again, and this will be great. And I'm saying "and" a lot, so that's a good sign for me to turn it off. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Always a pleasure. Take it easy, guys.
And boop.